So hello everybody, welcome back. We're now gonna play some more Castles of Dr. Creep. This time, we're gonna play Carpathia. And I pretty much intend this update to be a counterpoint to alternation because, well, of all of the rooms where you had to come a million of times so that you can solve them and whatnot, well, this level is pretty much the exact counterpoint. And I'm going to show you why, obviously. This is really one of the castles that I like the most. Basically, we're gonna have to gather 5 keys, and unlike alternation, we're going to need them all. And each of the 5 keys will be in all of these rooms. And right now, there's not really a whole lot we can do to get it, so consider this a scenic tour, a map of things to come. Basically, what we need to do here, we need to start from the top of each room to go to the bottom in order to get the key and escape. But since there are no handles, it means that we need to open these doors from another room. And also, you need to go to the bottom because, well, there is some obstacle that you need to clear out from the bottom. For instance, in this room, you have a conveyor belt up here. And you need to turn the switch off on the bottom floor before you can do it. So not only it's necessary to go down first to stay alive, but you also need it to progress through the room into most of the caves whenever you even want to start from the top. So there's really no reason to start at the top. And unlike alternation, this is logical. It's not like, oh, you have a 50-50 chance of being screwed. No, this time around, you knew that you had to go down first because this is how the level told you. And this is why this level is already a lot better. For instance, those Frankenstein up here, they're just as predictable as they've ever been. So difficulty-wise, this level, I gotta say, this level is probably harder than most of the level that we played so far, except that, well, this Frankenstein just didn't mind this step at all. But yeah, this level is harder than the levels that we've played so far because there can be many opportunities into this level where you can screw yourself over, but and overall, this is the good kind of difficulty because, well, while the puzzles are hard, they're not they're not unfair, or they're not something completely unexpected, or something that you're gonna have to repeat a million times. In fact, whenever you step into each one of the key rooms from the top door and what this, you can get the key on your very first visit. There's no recurring puzzles into this level whatsoever. Whenever you'll get into a door, I mean, you can do the entire puzzle without having to come back to it. And this is mainly why I enjoy this level so much. It's a little bit more faster pace and, well, not that I have anything against the pace of the game because, well, I actually like this game, but I'm pretty sure that most don't share my opinion because, well, it's not really the most fast-paced game out there, but that's okay, because that's exactly how I told it was. It's not a game for the impatient or whoever is looking for a whole lot of thrill. This is just a perfect game to just chill out to and play quietly and just have a little bit of exploration through dilapidated castles full of traps and puzzles to solve. Basically, everything that you will like. So it doesn't look like much, but hey, what do you know? We're not a whole lot onto the castle yet, and we've already opened up 2 of the 5 rooms. Basically, we're just clearing up the obstacles that are in the way so that we can finally start collecting the keys. Oh, and this room here also. Another great playground for little slow-witted men. Slow on the mind, slow on the body, but they're still so likable. Normally you'd need to make them slide here, but hey, what do you know? This is not even necessary. You just need to do that instead because they are just the kind of person that they are. They don't care about things like altitude and whatnot. They're in a hurry, and this is what happens when you're in a hurry. You just start making mistakes. And this room also offers the opportunity to practice in order to try killing monsters with floor traps and whatnot because, well, this is something that you can do into this game, although it's not necessary to do that at any point during the game. And right now, Oh my god. Yeah, it's quite harder than it looks. On the first update I made it look so easy, but I can assure you that it's really not as easy. Because normally... come over here, okay? Okay, thank you. I appreciate your cooperation. So anyway, what... am I interrupting something? Okay, I guess not. Or at least not anymore. Because, yeah, the game really intended you to just open up the trapdoor here and make the zombies fall one by one. But, hey, what do you know? When you have simpler solutions, you always gotta do them. Especially if you're a lazy butt. And also into this game, well, most of the easy solutions really work out well, so why shouldn't you apply them? Oh, and speaking of easy solution, I just noticed that I didn't even turn off the conveyor belt up here. Maybe I should go and, yeah, I should actually go and toggle it here because, well, Frankenstein is just having way too much fun trying to get into this coffin. This is why you gotta like these guys. They're so easily entertained, and you never know what kind of person they will be if they live long enough to grow a haircut or something which is far larger than what it is right now, instead of having this a little set of 1 pixel for a hair. Okay, right now I'm just trying to practice some more killing those monsters, but it's unfortunately not working too well, considering there's just so much timing involved. And learning how to kill those monsters is not necessary to beat the game, but there's one castle which you can shorten by almost 20 minutes or so if you manage to do that, so hey, what do you know? That's a good excuse to try and do that. And obviously enough, well, you'll know about this castle in due time. In the meantime, I'm just gonna let them enjoy their slow stroll here. Unfortunately, I cannot set them free because they're unfortunately not fit for freedom or something like that, so they're just going to walk around here, just in order to entertain our little guest right here. Just think of them as a tourist attraction. After all, this is a castle which is for sale. You'd think that, well, there is something out there just to entertain people. For instance, those rows of mummy right here. While the previous room was full of patience and slowness, this one is fast. So we almost have all of the key, no, not of the keys, but access to all of the key rooms, and getting down here, it's just a snap. Everything is just so simple into this game. Well, not as simple, because, well, this room can be a little bit more complicated, and it can take you off by surprise if you're not prepared. Because we're just gonna have to do the run of our lives right here. So, yeah, that was pretty narrow, but this is the most surefire way in order to just toggle those things, because otherwise, well, it's just going to be a little hard to avoid the laser which is shot from the pole when the gun is this close. I'm really sure that, well, if you don't time this correctly or something, you can just die, so even though it's one hell of a run to get over here or something, well, it's still ironically more sure to do it this way than just trying to avoid the gun when it's climbing whenever you're around this place. And whenever you've done all of this, well, you can just take your time with this room. There's no rush or something. This little gun right here is just never going to catch up to you. And even if you started to slide too quick or something, well, guess what? You still have opportunities in order to just salvage your mistake and whatnot, so it's really not like we're in a hurry here. This is not a game for the hurried people or people that are impatient. So here we go. We've pretty much opened up all of the ways that we need in order to get all of the keys. Yeah, basically if we didn't open that, well, we will be able to solve the room and whatnot, but it will be impossible to get the key because there was a trapdoor right in front of it. Oops. Okay, I shouldn't have got down here, but well, you can do that if it fails. You can just protect yourself with the lightning machines. Lightning machines both kill you and save you. So we're back here, and basically we're just going to backtrack to the room with the exit so that we can start tackling the upper part of the castle. So okay, here we go, we're finally all the way back here, so we can finally start attempting the upper part of the castle, which is where we can start getting the keys. And this is also where the repetitive aspect of the level will begin, because this is only where you're gonna have to do a whole lot of backtracking, but yeah, this is only walking around the next room that you need to go and whatnot, so it's nowhere near as aggravating than it was in previous castles. I think it's... I just really prefer the way that this castle is set up instead of others where there was just so many repetition involved that, well, the level would just never end and whatnot, so... So basically we just need to work on this one layer at a time, just like a wonderful mummy cake. Look, I don't really think this sounds as tasty as I think it does. In fact, that just sounds awful, so ugh. I just have the worst taste in cake ever. I apologize. So here we go, this is the first key that we need to get, and... well, for the first key that we need to get, it's quite surprisingly easy. All that you need to do is to just go to that teleporter right here and just slide up and down here to avoid the ray gun which is here. And it's honestly not that hard to avoid. Here we go, we finally have the first key. And basically, this is where you start seeing the repetition element, because we're all the way back here, and we're gonna need to backtrack all the way up so that we can start tackling the next room. So we're going to do that. Long time no see, mummies. I see you're still having a wonderful time trying to hug people to death. Well, this is not nice, and this is why this gotta happen to you. So yeah, while there is still repetition to this level, the reason why I like it compared to most other levels is that, well, at least the repetition aspect of the level makes sense, and you have a clear indication that you're making progress. So this is really the main reason why this level is likable. Because you don't have to cycle through like the same 2 or 3 rooms for over 10 minutes or something, just hoping that, well, eventually the suffering will end and whatnot. At least everything in here is just clearly defined. There's a clear ending, a clear beginning, and all of this, and it doesn't take too much time, so... just in case that you needed any more reasons as to why I like this level. And this is also why you don't start up on the top, because, well, if you were foolish enough to try and start up all of the rooms at the top and whatnot, well, you will have a pretty hard time getting out of this room, considering that there was a trapdoor right at the beginning of the door that we just came from. So you will have thought at first glance, oh no, you have to repeat this room like 5 times, but no, there's just a transporter just put up there just to make things easier for you, so that you don't need to overwork yourself or anything like that to do all of this. You can just do everything in one quick swipe. You can just wipe off this little room of the level and never come back to it ever, ever, ever. This is why I like this level. And this is also why I'm having huge difficulties to speak, oh boy. So here we go, that was the entire room. Now all that we need to do is to just get into this old thing here, so that we can get gold. Or golden key out of a golden door. So you've pretty much guessed at this point where we're heading off at this point. This room again, so... we're just gonna have to retrace our steps once again back to the room that we need to go next, so if you excuse me. So we're finally back here. It's time to unravel another tale of this castle. We have 2 keys down, only 3 to go. Doesn't seem much, but we're almost done with this castle already. Isn't that nice? This level is just so nice, Because going forward to every new room just feels like opening up a present. It's pleasant, it's full of good things for you, and well, all of the good things. So basically you just need to lure around the little Frankenstein monster and fry him, because he's been a very bad boy. And well, why you normally need to do that with the other guy as well? Well, this is a good time to practice yourself with the little thingy here, because, well, it's just faster that way. Which is providing that eventually you get it right. But we all get it right eventually. And I'm pretty sure that, well, if you time it well enough, you can do this. You can do this on all of the Frankenstein monsters, but no. Unfortunately, you can do that. You absolutely need to fry one of them because, well, you just can't get to the teleporter in time. Unfortunately, we cannot do everything flawlessly, but that's okay. You just can't expect to be perfect at everything. And in a game like this, do you really care that much about being perfect? It's not like it's a huge action game and everything like that. This is just a game where you solve puzzles and explore castles, so no one will mind if you're not an expert castle explorer. Absolutely not. There's no hats in stake, no weapons that you need to collect or stuff like that. No, absolutely not. You just need to collect keys and press on little bells like that. Just do just little sounds like that, which are just so relaxing. Everything about this game is just so relaxing. So here we go, and we're gonna be able to do some more music. Unfortunately, we don't have many machines, so we're just gonna have to content ourselves with just little things and whatnot. So basically, this is just another little test of patience right here. We just need to press those little buttons one by one, warp all the way down here so that we can open up the next trapdoor that we need. And here we go, we'll have another room that we'll be able to solve in no time. And here we go. Isn't that some nice job right here? So we have the third out of 5 keys, so we pretty much have almost everything that we need. So we're just gonna have to do the usual backtracking so that we can open up the next layer of presents that this level has for us. So I hope you're enjoying your walk, misters. I'm sorry, but your brother had to be taken away. That's kinda sad. Anyway. I still can't believe how much of a jerk I've been to this poor Frankenstein monster. He wasn't doing anything to anyone, and yet I killed him mercilessly. That was just so rude of me. So, I guess this is why they finally give me a room that I have to come back to it later to solve. This is the only time you ever have to return to a room later whenever you've went through it once. The only and sole exception to the rule. Oh, they're tricking you with the doorbells this time around. This game is stopping messing around. Even though those puzzles are still pretty easy, well, at least they're not as predictable as they... Okay, that was pretty weird. I think this is the first time that I've heard that doorbells and whatnot were just suddenly random for some reason. But that's okay, you always gotta be surprised by the things that you're doing every once in a while. Okay, you gotta be surprised, but you better not be trapped. Because being trapped is a horrible thing. And yeah, this is why you also open up the way forward, because otherwise you're gonna have a hard time avoiding Mr. Frankenstein up here. So, how do we deal with this jerk? This way. Oh, hey, that was not even intentional, but yet I managed to stop this jerk into his track. This is what you get for scaring people. Because now I don't have any remorse against this guy or something, because, well, this guy was just a rude jerk chasing around people, wanting to kill them and whatnot. You don't do that to poor little strangers which are just strolling in front of a castle just to try and find a new home. And hey, what do you know, we just got out in time. So, you know the routine. Now that we've managed to get, well, one of the last keys that we're gonna need, we still need one more key, but, well, we're gonna have to backtrack for the final time for the final key. Welcome back to the blue room that we couldn't solve previously because there was a force field in the way. But now there is nothing but victory at end. But we're just gonna have to wait for this gun to rise so that we just simply don't die. At this point, you probably wouldn't want to die because we're so late into the level and we're pretty much all done at this point. So basically, well, you really wouldn't do stupid mistakes at this point. And well, this is the one castle that we played so far where we actually did a completely flawless job. I think this is one of the first videos where I just don't die at all into the level. After all, I died into some of the easiest castle into the game, but yet I still didn't die into this one, so let's hoping that this streak continues. Considering that we're now gonna go into the final room for the final key. So you're probably gonna have an idea of how to deal with this room and whatnot, so we're just going to get along with the program. Basically, you need to trap both of the Frankensteins into this little hole that you can create here, but hey, you know what? You can just do that instead. Although, doing that with the other Frankenstein is going to be far more risky, considering that, well, if you fuck up, you're not gonna have a second chance, and Frankenstein is just going to go and get your ass. So, this one, however, we're going to trap. Which is provided he finds a spat around, because... no, I'm over here. Okay, thank you. Oh, hey, apparently you don't even need to lure him up into the room or anything like that. So, here we go. We've pretty much secured our key at this point, because now we just gotta need to free this little mummy right here. In order for him to have an appointment. An appointment with 1,000,000 of megavolts. And finally, well, this mummy is fat and really needs to do a whole lot of exercise, so here we go, you've got that sorted for. And here we go, we've got all of the keys that we need in order to solve the level, so the mystery is almost unraveled. And we just need to come back to the beginning room for the final time, and well, guess what, we're already close to it, so might as well just go and let the travel do the work for you. Or the travel do the work for you means obviously your feet. Alright, it's just like opening a box full of surprises. You don't know where they're going to end up. Everywhere. Basically, we're gonna have to go through this door multiple times because now we've opened up the thing and obviously enough, the next destination is the door right above us, so yeah, this is the only level, this is the only room in the entire game where you have to go back to it multiple times so that you have to go to it because, well, you've already figured out the pattern to this room, so basically you just need to go here, the next room is open, so we're gonna cut this out. After many hardships, it's finally time to reap the rewards. The key to the exit, obviously. Yeah, we needed a little traditional fanfare, just like the one in the previous video. And yeah, considering possible multiplayer videos and whatnot, the possibility of having more videos like this is still in the air, provided that, well, we find castles that are suitable enough for 2 players, lag, as well then the constant demolition of people around. So, obviously enough, we're still probably going to see another update like this. So here we go, we have the key to the exit, and now it's time to hightail to the exit. Yeah, obviously, what else do you want to do with the exit key? Maybe we can go back to the entrance. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Alright, our job is done. Okay, or maybe not. It's time that we finish this after all. So we probably could have cut this up, but hey, might as well enjoy all of our handiwork around all of these rooms for the final time before we close this. Especially considering that the way back is really quick and all of this. So we're pretty much completed yet another castle. Probably one of my favorite one in the bunch. I mean, it's still repetitive and all of this, but at least it makes sense. You have a clear idea of the progress that you're doing through it. It doesn't involve having through a room multiple times to solve a puzzle, having to cycle for absolutely no reason. So here we go. This is probably one of the better castles in the game. It's not too long, it's just the right difficulty. I mean, it's a hard castle, but it's the right kind of hard. We like it hard, just like we like everything else. And also the way to the exit is pretty cool. I mean, it's a pretty fitting way to handle a level, having to climb sky-high ladders and having to slide down for what seems to be an eternity so that you can find your way home. That's almost like a cinematic sequence or something like that, but here we go. And don't forget to open the door before you slide down here because, well, you know what? It's not going to be a pretty result. And we also get slightly more elaborate structures whenever we beat a level. Hey, no, come back here. Ah, here we go. Obviously, we needed your salute, my little buddy. Yeah, I know, I'm already starting to run out of ideas for initials, but this is just a minor part of the video. It's not like signing our masterpiece is, well, not a huge deal or something like that. So, here we go, another castle down. I'm gonna miss you, little castle, because some of the next levels are not going to be as pleasant. Obviously, we still have some levels that are either going to be fun, some of them are going to be just armless, and the rest of them are probably just going to be painful. Without any hyperbole or something, some of the castles are just going to be awful. Baskerville. Yeah, I'm looking forward to play this level, but we're done with this update and it's time to let the music talk. So see you everybody!